Hey everybody, happy summer to you. We have updated the Hruska Clinic shoe list, and we really did a revamping. Our staff and I together really looked at the shoes over the course of the last month and really tried to upgrade it to make it more user-friendly to help healthcare practitioners make better footwear decisions for their patients. Just for some generalities for all of you, for all of our patients, first and foremost, the shoes got to feel comfortable. We don't want our patients to feel like they have to break in a shoe. Otherwise, it's not the right shoe for them. That's the first criteria. The second criteria, that this is all on the shoe list that a lot of you are familiar with, but are the different criteria that we look for in a shoe. And a lot of shoes, you guys, over the last 10 years are markedly better than they were 10 years ago, like in 2008. I was really struggling clinically to find shoes that really helped to support my patients' feet, because as runners or as athletes, we kind of demanded a lighter weight shoe. And when you have a lighter weight shoe, it kind of compromises support. And I had a lot of injuries with a lot of poor footwear 10 years ago. But the pendulum has shifted the other direction, where a lot of our shoes are a lot better. There's a lot of great shoes out there that really fit some of our basic criteria that we look for at the Hruska Clinic and through the Postural Restoration Institute. Just to review this criteria, we like shoes where the heel counter doesn't collapse in. We like shoes that bend at the toe box. And if you look back here at your heel and you press down, we don't want there to be a lot of heel give. There can be a little bit, but not a lot. And we want the heel counter to be symmetrical. We don't want one side to be built up and the other side to be built down. Why is that criteria important? Well, that criteria is important because when we go to walk, we have to have our heel hit the floor. Our foot's got to roll out or do what we call supinate, and then it's got to repronate and roll in, and we got to push off of our big toe. And that allows us to move from side to side. So heel strike, my foot goes out, my foot rolls in, I roll to the inside of my right foot so I can transition onto my left leg. So your feet have got to be able to move back and forth. And so these shoes really help to integrate well with a PRI type of program. PRI meaning the Postural Restoration Institute, which is the type of physical therapy we do here at our clinic. You can take the same criteria that I have just instructed you on with an athletic shoe and apply that to any type of shoe, a basketball shoe, a tennis shoe, or a casual shoe. Just so you guys are aware, I used to do a casual shoe list, but I no longer do it because the shoes don't last long enough to warrant the time that it took. It took me 16 hours to come up with that casual shoe list and only lasted like 2 months because the shoes cycled through too quickly. I will tell you generally, men's casual shoes are made a lot better than female casual shoes. They tend to make our shoes to be cute and to be stylish. But you can take the same criteria of having a good heel counter and have it bent at the toe. Slip-on shoes don't work well. Ballerina flats don't tend to work well. We need something that has like a Mary Jane type of strap for a female, or shoes that tie. So just some FYI information. So that being said, I want to talk to you from the healthcare practitioner's point of view, what we look for. I watch my patients walk up and down the hallway and watch what their feet are doing. Remember, in a left AIC pattern, the left foot likes to roll in, the right foot likes to roll out. See if they can repronate their right foot to help them to transition on their left leg for left stance phase of gait. Or both of the feet supinated or rolled out, or both of the feet rolled in. Look at those patients walk to see if they're getting neutral alignment with their calcaneus. So watch your patient walk, and then what I do is I have them get into both left and right stance. Can they feel their heel arch and toe? And I'll have them pick their foot up. Can you feel your heel arch and toe? And then come over here, can they sense their right heel arch and toe and go back and forth their right stance, left trunk rotation? Then I look at my PRI test, because we look at tests at the head, neck, trunk, and the pelvis to make sure our patients are neutral. So that's the criteria that I kind of look for with my patients. Can they sense all parts of their feet on the floor? Are they PRI neutral? And can their feet wobble a little bit when they walk so they can obtain left stance and right stance and be able to go through the gait cycle correctly? I want to talk to you guys about some updates with the shoe list and the different criteria. So you see the standard criteria that we look for that we've always done with the pictures, but you're going to see different categories of the top part of the shoe list. So what we did as a clinic over the course of the last month is we looked at all the shoes, and we put shoes, for instance, that were maybe would have the best heel stability. If you have a patient that had a lot of ankle sprains, you probably want to get something that has a really good heel counter for that patient to integrate with their physical therapy program. We also have shoes on here if they have limited first ray mobility. So you don't want a shoe that bends at the toe box if you have a patient that cannot dorsiflex their first ray. If they've had a fusion at that first ray, or they have limitation with dorsiflexion, putting them in a shoe that bends at the toe box is going to work against them, and it will hurt them. They will not get neutral. So a Hruska shoe would work really well for those patients. They are not going to work well for a patient that does have normal range of motion in that joint. You'll turn on a hip flexor really quickly by putting them in a shoe that's really stiff at the, with the stiffness of being able to bend at the toe box. The only shoe on here that I haven't had the opportunity to look at is the M, T as in Tom, B as in boy shoe. We don't have those available to us here in Lincoln. You can get them online, but I know some areas have them, and they look like a really good rocker shoe that would work well for someone that had a limitation with first ray extension. So I talked about the best shoes for heel stability. I will tell you hands down is the Asics shoe. The Asics shoe have a tall and narrow heel counter. You can see this heel counter here versus looking at the New Balance 1080 here. It's not as tall and it's not as narrow. So that may help you to make a better, depending on your patient's history, to make a better decision for that shoe for your patient to implement with their physical therapy program. I will tell you that the foundation is going to be discontinued in the spring of 2019. And we're playing with some shoes to see what will substitute. But we think the Cumulus is going to be good as one shoe that we're looking at. But for right now, I would tell you that the Asics Cumulus, the GT2000, or the Foundation might be good shoes to look with for a stability shoe. And we'll probably be updating this in January or February of 2019 before this shoe phases out to help guide you a little bit better. On top of that, we also have neurosensory shoes. Our top shoes for that, if you have patients that have difficulty sensing the floor or processing. Neck patients is really good with dizziness, lightheadedness. And then we have shoes that fit all of the different midfoot type of criteria. Those patients that maybe have a really rigid midfoot or a high arched foot, or patients that have a laxed midfoot, or patients that have more of a semi-rigid midfoot. And so I hope that this criteria will help you, depending on your patients, to make better decisions for them. If you have questions, let us know. I hope you like our update. I hope that the video helps you to help you make better decisions for your patients. I do my best to answer your emails, but it's really hard for me to suggest a shoe when I can't watch your patient walk, and I know I can't do the PRI test with them. And so that's where you guys, as your great clinical practice, will be able to do to help your patients out. So we just got done talking about the different categories of shoes to kind of help you to guide your patients. Now we'd like to specifically talk about a couple of the shoes. I know I alluded to the MTB rocker shoe with the limited first ray extension, but I want to talk about the Brooks Levitate a little bit. This is a shoe I will tell you that some of you guys might question when you first pick it up, but I would tell you, do not judge a shoe by its cover. It has a good heel counter, it bends at the toe box, but this is a shoe that really has good calcaneal and midfoot support underneath it. You may not think about it if you look at the upper part of the sole of the shoe, but the bottom part works really well, and it works really well for a narrow foot. It forms around the foot, and I've been walking around and running in this shoe the last couple of days to kind of test it out, and I've really liked it. And a couple of my patients have really liked this shoe, so not to be overlooked. I will tell you that overall, one of our favorite shoes still continues to be the New Balance 1080. especially for our neurosensory patients, neck patients, those that have dizziness. I do wish they had a little taller heel counter with it, but so it may not be the shoe I would pick if someone has a lot of ankle sprains, plantar fasciitis type of stuff. I would want to get someone that has a more good, solid heel stability type of shoe. But this still overall tends to be a really good shoe for us. I talked to you guys about the foundation that is going to be discontinued, but again, that's not till the spring of 2019. Don't let your heart be troubled. We're going to find we have a few options we're going to be testing over the next 6 months, and we'll give you better feedback. I think all in all, you guys can look at the shoe list. We've tried on every shoe. We've looked at every shoe as a staff. But if you have a question about a shoe, let us know. If a shoe didn't make the list, it just may not be a shoe that we feel is going to work for the general population well. But it doesn't mean it may not be a good shoe for your patient that you have in front of you. So, you know the criteria that I look for. I hope that helps you out. Thanks again, and have a great summer.